So thank you, and we can start just with the presentation. So Marco, present yourself, please.
Okay, good morning to all. My name is Marco Rocca, and from July, I'm a cloud solution architect in Microsoft Italy in modern workplace domain. I work with SharePoint and all collaboration platform in Microsoft 365, list, forms, streams, Teams, etc. And in the last 3 years, I'm focusing on Power Platform world, then Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agent. In this slide, you can find my email and my social link. Feel free to contact me for every question you have about SharePoint, Teams, and Power Platform in general.
Thank you, Marco. And I'm Fabio Franzini. I'm the CEO of UpV Solutions, and I'm a Microsoft MVP. UpV Solutions is a company that the focus to create a solution on top of Microsoft 365 and the Power Platform. So if you need, if you have some question after the session, or if you need some help, please use this contact. So this is my email, fabio@upv.com, or you can find here my LinkedIn account and Twitter account. So we can start with the agenda. And the agenda starts with an introduction of the mixed reality. Then we can understand how to use the mixed reality inside the Power Apps applications. And then we can start on SharePoint Spaces, because there are different ways to create and use mixed reality inside the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. And then after the introduction of SharePoint Spaces, we can see how to use SharePoint Spaces inside Microsoft Teams. At the end of the session, we have the Q&A time, I hope. So we can start with the introduction of mixed reality. What is mixed reality? Basically, it's a combination of the physical and digital worlds. There are different ways to represent the reality. You know that we have the physical world, we have the digital world, but in the middle we have the augmented reality. Basically, it's a reality that it's more near at the physical world, and we have the virtual reality that it's more near to the digital world. So basically, the mixed reality, it's a mix of virtual reality and augmented reality. And in this slide, we can see what is the mixed reality by using this animation. Mixed reality at work. So there are different scenarios to understand the mixed reality at work. Today, the mixed reality, it's already present inside some company at the work. And we can have some scenario to describe the mixed reality at work. So basically, we can start with the remote assist. By using the mixed reality, it's simple to help the employee, for example, at the field, to assist on the daily work. This is in this image, we can see an example of an employee that need to change something in the inside a machine, on a physical machine, and then by using some handset and the mixed reality, we can assist the daily work. Or, of course, we can use the mixed reality to represent a virtual product inside a physical world. For example, we want to understand what is the best position for, I don't know, an stuff that you want to put inside a room, for example. And by using the mixed reality, you are able, with different devices, you are able to represent a digital asset in a real world. And then the last one, it's the possibility to use the mixed reality for knowledge sharing and training. By using the headset, for example, you can train some employee on how to fix some problem in a field. For example, you need to fix a problem on a machine, and then by the handset, you are able to instruct and train the employee on how to fix the problem. The top of mixed reality inside Microsoft is the Microsoft Mesh. It's a brand new service, and with the Microsoft Mesh, you are able to collaborate in a different way by using the mixed reality. For example, we can use the avatars, and with the avatars, you are able to feel the presence of another colleague inside the same space, or inside the same, for example, for Teams, the same call. You are able to feel the presence of your colleague. Or you can create a digital space, and then you can experience together when you want to collaborate for a specific work. And you can connect from everywhere by using the PC, the mobile device, or the handset. You are able to connect from everywhere inside the same space. Microsoft has created the mesh for Microsoft Teams, but this is just in preview. If you want to use, you need to sign up the preview, and then you are able to start to try to use the Microsoft Mesh in Teams. But basically, with Microsoft Mesh for Teams, you are able to do two main things. The first one is create the avatars. The avatars is a digital representation of you. And the good thing is that the avatars is animated by using your own expression. For example, you can participate to a team inside Teams, and you can use your webcam not to show your real video, but to animate your avatar. It's very interesting. And then you can create an immersive spaces to collaborate inside a meeting with your colleague by using the avatars. And when you want to collaborate by using the immersive space, you have to remember that you are inside the Microsoft 365, and then you are able to use the same service and the same content as integrated by default. Of course, if you want to use Microsoft Mesh for Teams, you don't need to use the handset, but you can use your desktop, your mobile device, or head-mounted display if you want. This video is just a representation that comes from Ignite of a space created inside Microsoft Mesh for Teams. You can see different rooms. Inside these different rooms, some avatars that collaborate with using, for example, OneDrive to share documentation, documents, and collaborate, or using some canvas to design some things inside the room. Okay. So this is just an introduction of the mixed reality. And now, Marco, it's your time. Marco, okay. Show you how to use mixed reality inside the Power Apps.
Okay, I share my screen and the presentation. Okay. You see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, but which is the problem that we have today? The problem is that the mixed reality scenarios that Fabio explained are often based on a complex, expensive device. For example, using HoloLens is the best device to to implement the mixed reality in your organization. But today you have another opportunity, another way to use mixed reality in your application is to use Power Platform. The goal of introduction of mixed reality in Power Platform is to enable this new experience for people that use like complex device, like for example our smartphone. But how Power Apps, for example, could help you to build a low-code mixed reality solution. As you can see in this slide, you have 3 or 4 different ways. The first on the left is a validate fit. For example, when you work in the real world, you need to understand the physical space. For example, if the space is large enough for your object or shape, then you can put your object directly in the real scenario. Then for this you need a three-dimensional representation of your object. The second way is take measurements. You will be able to take linear area or volumetric measurements directly from your Power App and store those data for example, in your SharePoint list, SQL Server, or Dataverse database. The way on the right is to use communicate better with two-dimensional and three-dimensional model. Okay, you can put your model, three-dimensional model in your app, but for example, if you don't have a three-dimensional model, no problem. You can use, for example, a classic JPEG image. Then you can put your two-dimensional image in your application. Is fantastic. But how do you enable mixed reality feature within Power Apps? Mixed reality control, as all other control in Power App, are out of the box object. Then you can select your mixed reality control, and you can drag and drop your controller in your app. Obviously, you need a device that support advanced three-dimensional image and object, okay, to use. Then, for the moment, there is the only important topic. You can use only GLB, OBJ, or STL file format. If you don't have a GLB file, you can use a free tool that you can find in on the web to convert your model in GLB file. Then you have a different properties for each control in your Power Apps. For example, for the take measurements, you can select if you want the type of measurement, volumetric, area, or linear, the unit of measure, for example, meter or feet. You can select, for example, the option to select a pin in the object in your image. Then you have another important settings, that is the source file. The source file is the URL that enable your application to see your model directly in your app or in your mixed reality scenario. Remember that the free model file must be on the server that doesn't have restrictive cross-origin resource sharing. Is another important topic for this. Okay, but the mixed reality is in continuous improvement during the last period. For example, in the last month, more features are released. The first is the opportunity to use a markup image in your app. Okay, then as you can see in the video on the left, you can put in your scenario a markup image is on the paper. In this case, the app recognizes automatically the markup control and put the object on top of this markup. The second is the possibility to show a gallery image in your mixed reality control. For example, you have a classic gallery, then you can switch the object in your app without exit from your mixed reality control. I'll show this option in my next demo. But not only, because for example, other features are using markup to add an example, an arrow or a free line in your image, or is the second image in this slide. You can create a connector from CGTrader repository to import a lot of three-dimensional content from CGTrader into your Canvas app. This feature has the markup feature are in preview for the moment. Okay, then I can switch to my demo. I prepared three demo for this. Okay, okay, the first demo is a sample app. Okay, in my first screen I use a gallery control. Okay, then I select this image, for example, for a SharePoint list. Okay, this is the list source of my image. Okay, all GLB files are inserted in SharePoint list as attachment. Okay, this is the object in the list. I use only I have a two column with the link for the image, two-dimensional object, and the GLB file, the three-dimensional object. Okay, then it's possible to insert under mixed reality 4 different control. View the object in a mixed reality, view shape, then it's possible to place, for example, a cube or a free shape in your mixed reality scenario, take measure, or using markup. In this case, I use, for example, the image, the gallery, or a selected object in my app. The difference is that in this case, I use a gallery. Okay, I select a source and I use a gallery to put object in my control. Well, I try to switch to my phone and I share the content. Okay, perfect. Fabio, you see my phone? Perfect. Okay, this is my app. Just a second. Okay. First, for example, I can select a coffee mug. I have a mixed reality viewer in my app. I can see the object. Okay. Then I want to show my object in mixed reality scenario. Okay. This is my markup for my application. Then I can put the object. I can rotate the image. I can elevate this image with the distance. I can put my object. Then I can take, for example, a picture from my reality. Then I can, for example, upload my image, the image, upload, and I can save it, for example, in SharePoint. But not only. If I select view items in mixed reality, okay, this is the behavior. For example, I have the first object, the packet of coffee, but it's possible to switch all objects in my gallery. For example, I can return to my mug. Then I have the same feature. Okay. Then, okay. I can reduce the zoom, enlarge the image. Then I can take, for example, another picture. Okay. Last option is to use, for example, a markup. For example, on the bottle, I can switch to arrow. I can change the color. Perfect. I can return to draw a 3-line in my object. Then I can take this image. After this, I can upload all image in my application. Okay, I return to my PC screen. You see my, okay, just a second that I return to share my PC screen. Okay. But in this case, for example, I can create a backend application. Okay. That, for example, it's a gallery with a two-dimensional object, because in this case, for example, I want to create a backend application for Teams, and then I can select this app, for example, from Teams. Okay, just a second, and this is the backend app. Okay, create an app. Also in Teams, I can use my three-dimensional content from my app, and I can show all image from for this object. Oops, sorry, it's the coffee mug. Okay, then I can see all image from this object. Typical scenario for this is the quality inspection application. Then, for example, I can have a front-end application from my phone. I can scan, for example, the QR code of the object. I can select, for example, one product and show all quality check for this object. Then I can see the report quality chart, or I can see all image in a typical gallery with the description, the inspection notes that you have. It's a typical scenario for mixed reality. Okay, Fabio, you can take the control for the next part of this session.
Thank you, Marco. Very interesting. Let me share again the screen. You see my screen?
Just a second. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So now it's time to SharePoint Spaces. Another way to represent the mixed reality or the virtual reality inside the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So what are SharePoint Spaces? It's a way to represent with a 3D visualization some information that you have inside the SharePoint. Basically, it's very interesting when you want to represent in a 3D space on a document library, for example. So you are able to create the SharePoint space in a new or an existing site. Of course, it's available on SharePoint online. And by using some web parts, you are able to integrate these spaces inside every SharePoint page that you already have inside, for example, your intranet or different site. So you have to remember that to represent on a 3D space, you need to have a support device for SharePoint Spaces. This is the link when you have the possibility to check if your device it's supported. But basically, internally, SharePoint Space use the JavaScript to represent this world, and so you navigate by using the browser, and then the browser need to have the power, the computation power inside your device to represent the 3D world. But I think that with the modern devices, you don't have problem to represent on a SharePoint space with your device. So what is the way to create a SharePoint space? Basically, you need first to activate a specific site feature. This feature, it's named Spaces. And when you have to activate this feature, you are able inside the toolbar of, for example, your home page for a specific site to click on New and then see inside all the options the new space item. When you create on the space, you are able to see on a page something like that. This is the panel that you have to use to put the information to create the space, like, for example, the name, the description, and of course, the structure. The structure, it's very important because it's the way to represent in a 3D world your information. There are different predefined structure. You don't have to create your 3D world, but you can select by using these options, like the gallery, amphitheater, arc, terrace, geodome, spiral, and in the future, I think more options. You have to select the name, description, the structure, and then you are able to define some settings, like the background, if you want to use on a specific image, an illustration, or on a plain color, or on a custom 3D file. And then you are able to select the welcome message as an audio file, and if you want, select an ambient sound. For example, known, or an empty room, a nature, a wind, rain, music, or a specific audio file. And then, after the creation of this new space, you are able to use a specific web parts to represent inside I already mentioned inside on a different page inside your intranet or your SharePoint site this space. So what about using SharePoint Space to represent the document, for example, inside Microsoft Teams? So basically, the simple way is to use the SharePoint tab inside a specific channel, and you are able to select if the site is enabled to use the SharePoint Spaces, the 3D and geo features. Or if you want, you are able to select any SharePoint site and then change the page that you want to show. This is the way to add a space and a SharePoint space as a tab in a specific Teams channel. But what about if you want to create a personal app? So the most simple way is to use the Teams developer portal. So you are able to navigate to dev.teams.microsoft.com and access to the developer portal for Teams. And basically, inside the developer portal, you are able to define the manifest of an application in a very, very simple way by putting the name of your personal type, the entity ID, so the internal name, the content URL, basically the URL of the page that represents your space, and the website URL. And then you are able to create the personal tab, and you are able to download the zip file that contains the manifest of the Teams application. Of course, you can upload this zip file inside the Teams Admin Center and then deploy the app as an pinned tab inside Teams for all the users, for example, inside your company. And then back to you, Marco, for a demo on SharePoint Spaces with Microsoft Teams.
Thanks, Fabio. I will share my screen. Okay. In this case, as Fabio explained, I create an application and I pin my FlySafe conference application in my sidebar in Teams. This is a typical real scenario for the virtual conference that you could have. Then I can enable the user to select this application. For example, I can stay in this tab, and under this site, I enable the space feature. Okay. Then it's possible to create a new type of a page called the space, or add a web part. For example, in this case, I reload all my space. I can present a typical main room of the event. For example, I can join the keynote. I can go select, for example, the breakout session is a link to another space that you have. For example, I can load another space. I can, for example, show the agenda is a document in this case. All of these are web part. Then in this case, this web part is linked to a Word document that is the breakout agenda that you have. I can minimize the content. I can save for later, and then I can open this document for other detail in new tab. I can, for example, return to my main hall. Then I remain always in my main page. Okay, I only navigate from a different space. For example, I can visit a sponsor showcase. In this case, from one drone. Okay, for example, I can view one three-dimensional object. Okay. Then return. I can switch to another typical scenario. Is the detail of this product, for example. In this case, is a drone, but could be, for example, your product catalog for example. Okay. In this case, I can reproduce a video. Okay. Or I can show a complete video from my product. Then I can reduce then I can read the specific of my product, and then I can return to the showcase, or I can return to the main hall of my conference. Then is a typical immersive scenario that you can create using SharePoint Space, but not only. For example, another typical case where you have a three-dimensional map. Okay, is another space. I can see this map. In this map, I can link other detailed image. For example, in this point of the mountain, this open this view is a complete 316-degree image of the object. I can link the other image always in my space, in my SharePoint space. Then I can return to my main page. Then I can see other, for example, other image or other object in my space. And how is possible possible create a new space? I can select a new space, or I can copy the space, sample space. I can select, for example, the structure of my space. Then I can start to insert the different part, the web part that you need. For example, not only object or video, but for example, you have a file viewer, image, a people chart, an organizational chart in 3 dimensions, or text or video. Not only you can embed a piece of code directly in your space. After this, you need only to publish the new page in SharePoint. As you create a typical page in SharePoint, a news page, a news post in a communication site, you can create a particular page in SharePoint called space. After this, you have another interesting session with Chirag Patel, based all session on this concept. Okay, I finished. I think, Fabio, that we have finished our presentation.
Yeah, the only thing is that I'm not able to see the Q&A panel inside the meeting. There are some problem on reaching this app. Teams say. I'm not able to see any questions. Just one in the chat, I think, that Matti has right. It's who is using SharePoint Spaces. So Marco, you have some references on company that use SharePoint Spaces?
You can use the official site of Space. I search and I put this link in the chat after this session. I think that we have finished our time, Fabio.
Yeah.
Then remember only to leave your feedback and for this session and this event.
Of course, for any question, the attendee have our email address, and then are able to send email.
Sure.
Us. Of course.
Yeah.
Thanks to all attendees.
Thank you very much.
And
there is still some time you can come off mute and open your camera if you like to ask a live question as well. My question is more about attendees, that who is from the attendees is actually using SharePoint Spaces, and I think some reaction would be nice to see that who is really kind of using those. So there is no thumb down reaction, so you cannot say no. You can just say yes.
Okay, SharePoint Space. Okay, in this I put this link. I copy and paste this link in chat. Okay, where the people can find a typical example of use case for Space.
Cool.
Space is possible to use Space for all SharePoint users. It's only a feature, no licenses are needed for this.
Okay. Thank you, Marco and Fabio, for your session. I think
Thank you very much.
Thanks
for
having us. And I hope to see you live in the next meeting, next conference.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, in the alt space, we are in with our avatars, of course.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thanks for all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.